So hello and welcome to the Expat Pod. My name is James, your host, and today is the shorter quickfire questions version of the podcast. So if you haven't already listened to the episode that Man and I recorded and it should be live, then do go and listen to it after this, of course. It should be a link, if you're watching YouTube, around my head somewhere. If not, it'll be on the app you're listening to this on. So this is essentially just a kind of flavour of your experience. So my first question is always, where is your favourite place you've ever lived?
Definitely Paris.
Any particular part of Paris? District?
I think the 17th arrondissement is shaky, snobbish, but I love it.
And what in particular made you love it?
It was so beautiful, really. Like, our apartment was amazing. The neighborhood was amazing. Everything was close by. I could walk around to the cinema, to the hills, to everything. I was in the center of the city. It wasn't about center, but it was close enough to the center, and everything was reachable. And I lived there as a teenager. Like I said to you, it was the time of my life. I had so much fun.
Amazing. That must be such a wonderful place to have grown up. What's your favourite international food?
I love Italian food. And I must say that Italian food in Paris is amazing. I went to Italy last year, and honestly, it was better in Paris.
Do you prefer Italian coffee over French coffee? That's the biggest question.
Yes. French coffee is not good.
Oh, there was no hesitation just now, just Italian. What's your favourite international tradition?
I feel that everything around the time of Christmas, with all the lights that there are around in the streets. So it's very dark outside, but with all the light, is so festive and cheerful, and it brings, I don't know, it's a warm feeling, and I love it. Everywhere I went during Christmas time, the lights and festivity are bringing joy, and I love it.
That's great. It's quite a popular thing to go and visit Germany for Christmas markets, or we have them here in the UK. They're just German Christmas markets, but transplanted. It's there's even sold as German Christmas markets, so people go and enjoy it. But it's great to see how different cultures and countries celebrate, especially winter festive periods, because as you said, they're quite a depressing time, and there's a lot of light or hope for some places. So it's great to see that. I think I really enjoyed that. There's a theme park in Gothenburg called Liseberg, and they have a wonderful Christmas market. If you haven't been, go, because that's, in a very dark part of the world, because it's very far north. It's a great thing to do with family and friends. What's your favourite thing about living abroad?
Discovering new things all the time. I'm always getting new surprises, positively surprised most of the time. And I love it.
It's probably linked to your open-mindedness you mentioned in the main podcast. So it's definitely, there's always something new to see, which is, the beauty of travel, even if it's just for a short period of time. It's why I find love traveling in general, because you get to see
absolutely.
everything.
And even though I live in the same place, like, I know Paris for almost 40 years now, but I still keep discovering new places, new things. It's a city that changes all the time, keeping its essence, but changing all the time. And I love discovering new little shops, new little cafes, new streets that I've never walked in, and that's great.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll always change too, because time changes everything. So you're going to see the evolution of where you live as well, especially if you leave and come back. It definitely amplifies that. What's your best homesickness remedy?
Music. I use music a lot.
Is it music from your childhood, music from locations? What kind of music is it?
That's very interesting, because when I was living in Israel and feeling homesick for Paris, I would listen to French music, Charles Aznavour, and things like that. These days, I find myself listening to Israeli music in Hebrew from not my childhood, but maybe my teenage time and my young adult time, and like nostalgic songs, but it helps me feel, I don't know, more connected to when I need it.
Yeah, I know. When I went on a French exchange, the song "Drops of Jupiter" by Train we played a lot, and "Umbrella" by Rihanna, and I hear those songs, and I'm transported back to those places, those times. And I guess that's the beauty of
Yeah.
music. It becomes a soundtrack of your life. You build these, that song you listen to endlessly in one summer, and you hear it again like 10 years later, and you're like, oh, I'm 15 again. Just it has that incredible ability to do that.
And it doesn't always makes you feel happier, but it's okay to feel sad as well. So, and sad nostalgics is good as well.
I think music is the only medium, I think, where you can listen to it regardless of your mood, because there is a song which exists to maybe help you through your mood or support you or encourage you to experience those feelings. Yeah. What's the hardest thing about living abroad?
That your surrounding usually don't understand you or what you're going through. So a lot of time it can feel very lonely because you can speak to someone and hey, it's not a big deal, but they really don't know what you're feeling and what you're going through, because unless they did it as well, they couldn't understand. So it can feel very lonely sometimes.
And quite often the thing which might feel like a small thing to someone else is the straw which broke your back, right? It's the old saying of, it's the 15th thing which is small has gone wrong, but it's the accumulation of those and the added stress, or, you might have had to wait 5 hours in line for a visa or a permit or whatever, or to open a bank, and it's just, and then,
or it just, becomes... when you speak and people are correcting you again and again, and you're doing the same mistake again and again, and then you feel like shit and stupid, and oh my God, why I can't learn if this is male or female, and then you speak about it with a friend, and she's like, well, it's no big deal, speaking English. I'm like, no, never mind, forget about it.
I know it's interesting. I'm probably generalizing here, but as an English person, the French are often the worst for being annoyed at people speaking English and then correcting your French, so you can't win either way. But that's just my English generalisms because they're our neighbours. What's on the topic of language? What's the best phrase you've learned?
I think most of the best thing I learned in French come from my kids as they speak at school and they learn, day to day language that I never used before. And now I just learned pas touche la mouche, like don't touch the fly, but it does rhyme, and they use it all the time. It's like pas touche la mouche. And it's just funny and makes no sense.
I mean, that's the beauty of language, right? You find it makes you, as you said, like, why is this a saying? Why has this become an idiom or something,
They have great expressions. Every time I learn a lot of new expressions that I didn't know before. And they are just hilarious. And I love learning them.
Yeah, and the history behind the expressions is quite interesting to listen to. I know there's a really good podcast in English called What Rhymes with Purple, and it's with a lexicographer, and they often talk about expressions or words and where they come from. A lot of British or English comes from French because how the island was formed over years of conquering and changing hands. Also, some comes from German, a lot from Latin. But it's quite interesting to understand the history of a saying or history of a word, and why we use it so fondly now. It's quite odd. I guess what's your best way of making new friends?
I'm not really proud of it, but I use my kids as a way to approach others. It's like the best way for me is to try to approach other parents. When I see my kid talking to their kid, that's like an entry point. And the other place I meet people is at yoga class. That's where we have something in common. So it could be yoga for me, but it can be any other activity or something that you like and you can speak about it. It's a great way to start a conversation.
Yeah, it's the icebreaker done for you kind of thing. And what's your best thing to do in your new city? So obviously you've moved to this new town, or what's the best thing to do there? Not Paris.
The best thing I love about this city is it's close to the river. So we really live just 2 minutes from the river, and it's so pretty with nature. And we had so much rain this year, so it really flowing a lot. And I love just strolling along the river, and it's really nice. Never had it before.
Yeah, bodies of water have that kind of grounding effect. I grew up next to a beach with the sea, and everywhere I've lived there's always been some water, apart from where I am right now, which is the middle of the UK, and it's the furthest point from a beach, which is really upsetting.
Well, I grew up next to the beach. I grew up next to Tel Aviv, next to the beach. I never loved it. I don't like the beach. I don't like the sea, but the river is really nice and it's soothing.
I think we're inverted in our personality in that sense, because I love the sea. And then my last question is, what's your best expat life hack?
Just bring joy to everything, and there's positive in everything. You just need to choose and see it. So open your eyes and ask yourself, what's good in this situation? What's joyful about it? What's happy about it? And we'll find something. It could be really small, like a flower next to the river, or some new food you found. It could be really, really small, or a beautiful sunset or sunrise or a bird on your balcony. It doesn't really matter. It's a mindset, and it's about choosing to see those things. And that's my life.
And downloading your app.
That's not a hack. That's a tool that can really help you, but it's not.
Good answer. That's all my questions. And thank you for willing to have this bit of fun with me. It's just a little silly part of the podcast, but for me, it's great fun just to see everyone's answers over time. It's been really interesting just to see how different people have approached, how they've moved abroad, and it really shows that it's not a one shoe fits all, or one size fits all is probably the expression I'm looking for, not one shoe. But there's so much variety and there's a spectrum of living abroad which people have had to live through. And yeah, thank you for your time and sharing it with you. And I look forward to seeing where your great work goes, and see how your sister's answers differ.
Oh yeah, this will be interesting. But thank you so much for having me, James. I had a great time sharing my own experiences and speaking to you. It was really great, and thank you.
Awesome. And as always, if you have enjoyed the podcast, please do go and check out the full-length episode if you haven't already, but also have a look at our socials or our YouTube channel. There's lots of different playlists now where you've got different countries that people have moved to and from. So if you're interested in a certain country, then do go check it out. And we'll see you next time for the Expat Pod.